Welcome to Chat Smart English. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging English learning stories. Learning a new language is a dream for many. The thought of speaking fluently, understanding effortlessly, and expressing yourself with confidence is exciting. But for most learners, this dream seems distant. They struggle with words, pronunciation, and confidence, often feeling like fluency is out of reach. Imagine a young boy named Ryan. He always admired people who spoke English fluently. Whenever he watched movies or listened to English songs, he imagined himself speaking just like that, effortlessly, confidently, and without hesitation. He dreamed of traveling the world, making new friends, and having deep conversations in English. But there was a problem. Every time Ryan tried to learn, he felt stuck. The words didn't make sense, sentences felt confusing, and he couldn't express himself the way he wanted. His first English lesson was full of excitement. He learned a few words and practiced saying them aloud. But soon he realized that knowing words wasn't enough. He needed to connect them, understand conversations, and respond naturally. This frustration is something every English learner faces. In the beginning, everything feels unfamiliar, like walking into a dense forest where you don't know the way. The trees, the paths, the sounds, they all seem confusing. But just like exploring a new place, language learning becomes easier with time. The more you listen, speak, and practice, the clearer the path becomes. Are you ready to start your journey like Ryan? Keep watching to discover the secrets to mastering English. Ryan didn't want to give up. He had seen others speak English fluently, and he knew it was possible. But no matter how many grammar rules he memorized, he still felt lost in real conversations. Then one day, something changed. He stumbled upon a simple technique, thinking in English. Instead of translating every word in his head, he started describing things around him using the English words he already knew. When he saw a tree, he didn't think, ped, and then translate it into tree. He simply thought, tree. When he was hungry, instead of thinking in his native language first, he told himself, I am hungry. At first, it was difficult. His mind automatically tried to translate, but he kept pushing himself. He started with small things, naming objects, describing his daily routine in simple sentences, and even asking himself questions in English. Then, he discovered something amazing. The more he thought in English, the faster he spoke. Words came more naturally, and he didn't feel stuck searching for translations. It was like unlocking a new level in a game. But Ryan still had a long way to go. He needed more than just words. He needed to sound natural. And that's when he learned about a technique that changed everything. Keep watching to find out how Ryan improved his pronunciation and started speaking like a native. Ryan was making progress, but there was one big problem: his pronunciation. He could form sentences in his head, but when he spoke, he still sounded unnatural. His words were choppy, and his accent made it hard for people to understand him. That's when he discovered shadowing, a powerful technique used by language learners worldwide. Shadowing is simple. You listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say, copying their tone, rhythm, and pronunciation as closely as possible. Ryan started small. He chose short clips from English podcasts, interviews, and movies. At first, he struggled to keep up, but he didn't stop. He paused, repeated, and mimicked every sound. Instead of just learning words, he was training his mouth to move like a native speaker's. One day, something amazing happened. He was ordering coffee at a cafe when the cashier casually asked, "Would you like sugar with that?" Without hesitation, Ryan replied, "No thanks, I'll take it black." The words flowed smoothly. No awkward pauses, no overthinking. It was a small moment, but it proved that he was improving. His confidence grew, and he realized that pronunciation wasn't just about speaking correctly. It was about feeling natural in the language. But Ryan knew he still had to conquer one more challenge: the fear of speaking in front of real people. And what he did next took his fluency to a whole new level. Keep watching to find out how Ryan overcame his fear and became a confident English speaker. Ryan had improved his pronunciation, but there was still one thing holding him back: fear. Every time he had to speak in front of people, his heart raced, his palms got sweaty, and his mind went blank. He knew he had to face this fear, so he decided to challenge himself. He made a rule. Every single day he would start a conversation with at least one new person in English. At first it was terrifying. He felt nervous, worried about making mistakes, and sometimes he even avoided speaking altogether. But then something changed. One day he was at a bookstore when he saw a tourist struggling to find a book. Normally he would have stayed silent, but he took a deep breath and said, "Excuse me, can I help you find something?" The tourist smiled and replied, "Oh yes. I'm looking for a book on American history." Rayan felt a rush of excitement. He had just started a real conversation in English. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't matter. He had broken the fear barrier. After that, he made small talk with cashiers, asked strangers for directions, and even joined English-speaking groups online. Every conversation made him more comfortable, more confident, and more fluent. But there was one final step that would completely transform his English. And when he discovered it, everything changed. Rayan had built a strong foundation. He had learned words, mastered pronunciation, and even conquered his fear of speaking. But he still found himself translating in his head. Every sentence started in his native language before it became English. This slowed him down. Then he discovered something that changed everything. He needed to train his brain to think directly in English. His mentor gave him a simple but powerful exercise. Describe everything around you in English. If he was eating breakfast, he would think, "I'm eating toast with butter." "The coffee is hot." If he was walking in the park, he would say in his mind, "The sky is blue." "That dog is running fast." At first it was difficult. His brain kept switching back to his native language, but the more he practiced, the easier it became. Then, he took it one step further. He started asking himself questions in English. Instead of thinking, "What should I eat?" in his native language, he would think it in English. "Should I eat pasta or a sandwich?" This forced his brain to process thoughts in English without translation. Within weeks, something incredible happened. He realized that English was no longer a foreign language. It was a part of his thinking process. But there was one final step that would turn him into a truly natural English speaker. And when he discovered it, his fluency skyrocketed. The breakthrough Rayan had been waiting for came in the form of immersive practice. He started to surround himself with English in every way possible. From movies and podcasts to social media and conversations with friends, he made English a part of his daily life. He joined online communities where English was the primary language of communication. Instead of focusing on mistakes, he started to embrace imperfections and used every conversation as an opportunity to practice thinking and speaking in English. The more Rayan interacted with native speakers, the less he relied on translation. His brain had finally adapted to the rhythm of the language. Words flowed naturally, and his speech became more fluid. The translations he once relied on became a distant memory. One day, as he was having a casual conversation with a friend, Rayan realized something incredible. He was speaking English as if it were his first language. There was no hesitation, no translation, just an effortless flow of words. This was the ultimate transformation. Rayan had gone from someone who struggled to think in English to someone who could effortlessly speak without translation. His journey was complete. But how did this happen for Rayan? It wasn't magic. It was about consistent practice, exposure, and a commitment to change the way he thought. Anyone can achieve fluency with the right mindset and dedication. If you're ready to stop translating in your head and speak English fluently, you just need to take the first step. Start thinking in English, make it a habit, and watch as your fluency improves. Reflecting on Rayan's journey, it's clear that the path to fluency isn't a quick fix. It's about committing to the process, stepping out of your comfort zone, and finding ways to immerse yourself in the language. The more you expose yourself to English, the more natural it will become to think and speak in it. One of the key takeaways from Rayan's story is the importance of building a daily habit. Every moment you spend listening, speaking, and interacting in English brings you one step closer to fluency. Start with small, consistent actions, and over time they'll lead to huge progress. Remember, there will be times when you feel frustrated or like you're not making any progress. But just like Rayan, it's important to persevere. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about finding joy in learning and speaking, even if it's just a little bit each day. You can also learn from your mistakes. They're not setbacks, they're opportunities for growth. Don't let fear of making mistakes hold you back. Embrace them as part of the learning process. Now it's your turn. Stop translating in your head and start thinking and speaking in English. Create an environment where you can practice regularly and immerse yourself in the language. Remember, fluency is within your reach. The more you practice, the easier it will become. Keep pushing yourself, and you'll soon find yourself speaking English as naturally as you think. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos to help you on your English speaking journey.